Hi, my name is Richard Carranza. I'm the Chancellor of the New York City Department of Education, and I want to thank you for being here today. It's critically important that segregation, and more importantly, integration, becomes one of the fabric pieces of our work that we do every single day. You see, the issue of segregation was settled definitively 64 years ago by the United States Supreme Court in Brown versus Board of Education. And we know for a fact that segregation is never equal. And since that decision, that landmark Supreme Court decision, we as educators, we as leaders, have the responsibility to make sure that the environments in which our students are educated are not only integrated, but they are of a high quality. We know for a fact that integration makes schools stronger. It's good for all students. I think it's important that every school must have an eye towards equity, but more importantly, our schools must have an eye towards inclusivity. And inclusivity is the American way. It's the cornerstone of our democracy. It makes us who we are. Therefore, as we have these conversations, as we have this planning process, it's important to cast as wide a net as possible, to bring everyone into the conversation so that they don't feel that they're not part of the conversation. Well, we know that some of these conversations are going to be difficult, and we know that some of these conversations may be charged conversations. We also know that it's the right conversation to have, because we know that our students, once they leave our system, they will be living in a very diverse world. And we know that the research is clear. Diversity, inclusion, non-segregated schools never hurt students. In fact, they help all students in the system. So thank you for your courage. Thank you for being here. Let's go out and make the schools that we have responsibility for the schools that we know they should be based on our values. Now, as we do this hard work of creating integration plans and ensuring that our communities are diverse, so it's important that we include our stakeholders at the very beginning of these conversations. Conversations which I know are very difficult conversations to have. Conversations that are fraught with different political alliances. Conversations that are very difficult because it makes us look at who we are and how we interact within the broader community. But my friends, it's critical that you include stakeholders at the very beginning of those conversations, that you norm set about what is it that we're trying to create. Why is it important that we have these conversations in pursuit of a strategic plan to make sure that our school system is aligned with those moral values that we talk about? But once you have your plan, the work doesn't stop there. You see, you have to continuously keep having those conversations, perhaps not the same conversations, but the conversations around, are we living up to what we said we want to do in our community? Having the conversations about, are we allocating the resources in the way that we know will continue to empower families and communities? You see, I'm a big believer in the power of a traditional public school education. Were it not for that public school education, I suspect many of you, would not be able to be in the positions that you're in today. Therefore, I give you tremendous kudos for coming together and really working to develop these kinds of plans. But I will also say this, if not us, then who? Our time is now. Equity, integration is not something for others to take on. We are fortunate that we are in our positions to be able to take this on right now, right here, and now. Thank you for what you're doing. Count me as one of your supporters. Let's work together for better outcomes for all of our children.